it was easier probably 10, 15, 20 years ago when there were the avenues that were available to a small business owner were maybe print media, maybe flyers.
Sure.
And now
Yeah.
you have got Google and this.
Now you're on TikTok, you're flossing, you're
all of that. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, right?
actually.
No, that is exactly what it is, and it is extremely hard, and it's confusing.
Once upon a time, Chris and I had a few different businesses on the go. It's not uncommon for early founders to do this, as they're trying to figure out what works in the market. But that definitely doesn't mean it's easy. Today, we're speaking with Ameya Juvekar, an entrepreneur with a diverse background in business, marketing, revenue generation, and technology. He'll be talking about his two companies, Scale Up 42, a marketing firm that specializes in customer acquisition for health and wellness clinics, and HealthBuddha.ca, a platform that connects patients to the best-rated nearby naturopaths. It's interview time on Startup Different. Folks, welcome to Startup Different. I'm David Sinkinson. He's the Chris Sinkinson. And today we've got Ameya. Ameya, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh,
thank you,
welcome
Dave.
to the program.
Thank you for having me here.
This is pretty high pressure. You got the two Sinkinsons here interviewing at the same time.
Yes.
Hey, super excited to talk to you. It's not every day that we talk to a founder on this show that has more than one hustle going, you know, and I find that really interesting. But I also know it's one of those things that, you know, sometimes you got to do as a startup founder. You're trying to figure out kind of what works in the market and, you know, what's going to get the most traction. You know, for Chris and I, we had a bunch of businesses on the go. So today I'm really interested in hearing about you, your journey, your businesses. So why don't you start off with, you know, a little bit of your background and then take us into how you got into your companies.
Okay. So quickly, I moved here to Canada in 2013, did my MBA from Queens.
Mm-hmm. Hell of a school.
Yeah. Great school.
Great school. Best school.
Yeah. And entrepreneurship, I got introduced to entrepreneurship through this one program or this course, Tricolor Venture Fund.
Oh, yeah.
I was a part of that. So it was really cool. And I knew exactly that this is where I would like to be, right? I mean, I had no startup background, but I knew the moment I got into that, I was like, this is where I want to be. After school, I wanted to do something in that world, but I ended up taking up a job, and it was just a safe thing to do.
Sure.
I got the job at Toronto Star as a new venture analyst. So that was a cool job.
Like the Toronto Star, like the newspaper?
Toronto Star newspaper.
Yeah, I think actually it's interesting because we were in the Toronto Star building at the exact same time.
Yeah.
I think I saw you in the lobby or something like
our
that.
Our business incubator, the Toronto Downtown
Toronto Business Development Center.
Toronto
Yeah,
Business,
that was the floor above us.
Yeah.
We were one floor away?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. And here we are years later. Anyway, cool.
Right. So joined Torstar as a new venture analyst. The job was to seek companies that we can bring into that ecosystem so that we can provide similar services that were offered in print, but then transition the small companies or small businesses that would advertise into the digital space. They ended up buying a company called Tradio, came out of Next 36 program, and they wanted someone to run that internally, so they gave it to me. So
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's where it was like an entrepreneurship experience.
neat.
You have, we have got a couple of $100,000 as a seed money that the company had given to keep running that and building that startup. So I did that, took it to about 100,000 users at that time.
Whoa.
And then they realized that I could do something more, so I kept moving jobs and started getting into bigger portfolios within Torstar. 5 years ago or so, things changed. I was transitioned out, and it was the perfect timing. It seems because COVID hit, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Sure.
And it was just so now I was in the place where I could go and find a job, or I could just
Start something
of my own, right? Mm-hmm. And what happened at that time was I was at the point where I realized that there are solutions out there for small businesses to market themselves, but they are also fragmented.
Right.
And the biggest concern that I felt was, or the pain point that probably I felt because I was working so closely with the small businesses across Ontario, so I had an understanding of the entire Metroland media landscape, right? And
Yeah,
Metroland
sure.
Media was across Ontario, so I had an understanding of different demographics of small businesses, and they had so many different solutions, but they did not know how to put them together to build a proper marketing campaign.
Okay. Okay.
And
they don't know
I
how to package it.
Yeah, package it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have a proper tech stack that works for you as a small business owner?
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And that's where I thought, okay, now that I'm out, I have some money to, not really worry about work or whatever, right? Like just for livelihood. So I started Scale of 42 as a way to advise small business owners of how to build marketing stacks.
Cool.
Started getting clients, and like it just started coming because again, COVID came in and things were transitioning
Sure.
from print to digital, and most small businesses or small business owners did not really have that kind of an acumen to understand what kind of tech stack, marketing tech stack from digital standpoint, what do they acquire into their marketing space.
Right.
So that's where I came in. I started, and just coincidentally, I just got clients in the healthcare space.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So that's interesting. Hang on. You had a like why? Like why did one particular vertical just find its way to you? Did you work with them more at Toronto Star? Like was there some connection there? Like what happened?
it's just my network was in the
Okay.
health space.
Okay.
So one of my biggest clients from Scale of 42 is Nature Source, they are one of the biggest retailers in the GTA area.
Yeah, I definitely know.
Yeah.
It's like
Health supplements.
homeopattic medicine and
that's
like
right.
health supplements.
Yeah, vitamins and
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
vitamin supplements.
Cool.
So they were I knew them, so I started working for them. Through them, I got some more connections, and in that space, and I just kept growing in that space. So it just kept, and I realized that as I was learning about this space, I was going deeper into it.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't really intend to go in that direction.
Yeah.
But it just happened to go. I got pulled into that direction.
Yeah, sure.
Luckily, some healthcare treatments can be done virtually, right?
Oh, cool.
Naturopathic medicine can be done virtually,
Yeah.
so you don't necessarily have to have a clinic to go to.
Right.
Right. So now you can build your entire business online.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right from customer marketing to customer acquisition, retention, all of that for such health concerns. That naturopaths can help you treat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
First off, so let's talk about small businesses and marketing for a second. One of the feelings I have sometimes, like when I think about our business, is that I'm like a sales guy primarily. Like I'm direct sales. We were an enterprise sort of solution, so very much a direct sales force. You're in like a consulting for consumer marketing, right? I wonder, like. Maybe I'll make a general comment. Do you think that's why do small businesses suck at marketing? Like, doesn't it seem like a thing? Like, if you're a
Yes.
smaller business,
Yeah.
what is that all about? And you're a consultant, so I feel like you got to know some of this stuff.
Well, it's just that as an owner of a company, they have so many hats to wear,
Right.
right?
I totally agree with that.
And once you have the customer, you have to retain, service the customer. You have to look after the entire operations, and marketing is one of those things that needs special attention. And well, it was easier probably 10, 15, 20 years ago when there were the avenues that were available to a small business owner were maybe print media, maybe flyers.
Sure,
And now
yeah.
you have got Google and display.
Now you're on
social,
TikTok, you're flossing, you're
all of
you know.
that. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, right?
actually.
That is exactly what it is, and
Yeah.
it is extremely hard, and it's confusing.
Yeah, definitely.
And what do you use now? And you have data also, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, true. You can actually
The
tell
data
it's
side of
working.
it
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
really complicated.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it becomes complicated, becomes
Yeah.
confusing. Although data can help you to actually make sound business decisions,
Right.
but how do you understand that? How do you interpret that? How do you analyze that? It requires work. It
Right.
requires time, and it needs you to get out of your business, sit down, and work through the numbers.
Yeah.
And not everyone. That's the problem that that when I was working with Metroland, I realized that small business owners, that's one of the biggest issues. And that is the pain problem that I actually went out to solve, is coming from the MBA world where you have all these frameworks put together, all
Structure.
the model structures.
Mm-hmm.
We learn structures in MBA, right?
Yeah.
And that's the structure. My vision with Scale of 42 is to actually bring this structure to small business owners.
Cool.
Right? And if I can scale those structures, then that's something that that's my vision. That's my North Star, right? With Scale of 42 is because these things are not available. And in today's world, technology changes every day.
Right.
Now, what do you use now, right?
Yeah.
Like there was, people got comfortable with Facebook or Meta marketing and TikToks and Google marketing, and suddenly now we're talking about chatbots and GPTs, right?
Yeah.
Now you have to kind of unlearn how you were doing things before to get into this new thing,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And your technology stack to acquire a customer now, if let's say you're a chiropractor or a naturopath, right? You run a Google ad, you will get website, acquire them,
Yeah.
Now you can have chatbot and, there are different ways of acquiring the customer,
They just
automation.
can't keep up with all these new technologies. And that's where you're sort of saying, hey, I got your back on marketing.
Yeah.
You guys do
Yeah.
the best naturopath, chiropractic, whatever work that you do, focus on that. Let us do the marketing side and drive those leads to your business.
Exactly. And to be honest, Chris, like even I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Right? Like by the time we implement the technology, like something new comes up and now we have to learn that.
Do you find that because you're kind of, the naturopath, I mispronounced that.
Naturopath?
Oh, great. Dave's going to
You
make
live
a viral
in the
clip out
forest
of
as a
that.
naturopath. Sorry, keep going.
Or a chiropractor. Do you find that because you're focused on that industry, that helps you because you can sort of create, you have like a known good plan that you can roll out for different organizations, so they're not having to reinvent the wheel every time they go through it. And you learn something new, so you figure out, hey, if we use this chatbot, it goes a long way, and then you can implement that across your customer base. Is that kind of the way you're approaching it to
Absolutely.
systematize? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Understanding the business, the industry, the domain is so helpful to even design. If I want to do creative thinking around marketing, we can use all the funnel ideas that we learn in business schools and awareness, interest, and all. But what goes in that, and that healthcare information, the customer journey, what customer wants, what kind of modalities are used in order to treat a certain health condition, at least some knowledge of that is extremely helpful in developing and designing these marketing campaigns, and even not just marketing campaigns. Like what kind of tech stack do you want to use? Right? Do you want to even does it even make sense to use social media to market?
Right. Depending on your product and what you're doing. For sure. Yeah.
Right. So then, and maybe in some cases it does make sense to use social media, in some cases it doesn't. Right.
Yeah.
And knowing what these chiropractors or naturopaths do and what kind of customer demographic they are targeting, it definitely helps to put together a well-defined marketing campaign, customer acquisition campaign, and even a P&L for that matter. Right?
Yeah,
Because that's also something that is where I feel like business owners find it extremely hard to allocate funds into marketing. Right. Because
Even though it's going to generate, additional sales or at least top line revenue for them. Yeah. I can see that. I think a lot of it comes from just confusion. Like, as you've been alluding to, there's just so many options.
Yeah.
I think even for our podcast, and there's so many different things we could do. And I find that social media has changed so much even in just 10 years, which is not a trivial amount of time, but it's just so different now. It's much more commercialized. I have a lot more, sponsoring posts. You see that, or like at least you see or hear about other companies doing that a lot more, as opposed to maybe looking for like that organic traffic that you would, historically have seen. Hey, we're taking a short break to tell you some exciting news. Chris and I wrote a book. Surprise! It's called Startup Different, the myth-busting blueprint for your multi-million-dollar business, and it's available now. Like our show, we're trying to pay it forward to our fellow entrepreneurs. The book busts 33 business myths, tells some of our most hilarious stories, and gives you many of our best tools to build, scale, and exit your business. You'll find the book on all major online retailers, including Amazon. Check it out. We think it's pretty great. And now, back to the show.
So I understand the genesis of Scale Up 42 and where you kind of ended up with that. And I think I'm seeing the tie-in to your next business, which is HealthBuddha.ca. Can you kind of explain how that happened? Or
So back in 2016, you and I were at an event.
were we? Oh,
Is this your business idea?
Yeah. I actually shared.
Is he
this
your
idea.
co-founder?
Yeah, he's my co-founder. Yeah.
Wow.
sorry, bro. I was doing this.
Let's do this side hustle. Bastard.
So you and I were at an event, and I actually shared this idea because I had, and this was nothing to do with naturopaths. I had gone to a massage therapist, and I was actually sharing this idea. Oh, this is something that I would like to do.
Yeah.
And you gave me an advice, which I don't remember anymore.
Neither do I. That's the end of this
It's
episode.
been 8 years. 8 years. Okay. But I
It was this beautiful thing. I'll never forget what you said, and we'll see you later.
we had a conversation for at least good 15 minutes. I remember that. It was like the CN Tower event that we had with Queens.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so so I had this idea to build something that will connect people based on their. So I had gone to a couple of massage therapists, and they didn't work for me. Okay. And then there's this one person that worked for me, and I was like, well, this like every massage therapist does. This is my leap. I mean, I don't think so anymore that every massage therapist does the same thing.
Yeah.
But as a lay person, I didn't know every massage therapist does the same thing. Why am I connecting with this and not with this person, right?
Right.
And I realized that there is some kind of a psychological connection, right? And as I learned a lot about naturopaths and customer journeys towards naturopaths and how to retain customers and helping them to retain customers, I realized that there is an opportunity here for me to bring that idea back.
Cool.
And then I built Health Buddha because now it's already serving more than, I want to say like 60, 70 naturopaths at the time.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, this is a great idea. If I can do what I'm doing for 50 or 60 clinic owners, right? I can do this. And like you said earlier, like once you understand what their business, like the more understanding about the domain itself, right?
Yeah.
Like what does a naturopath do? How do they acquire someone who is in perimenopause or menopause phase, or if they're in fertility related concerns or PCOS concerns and so forth, like the hormone health related stuff, then I can build something that can go nationwide and North America wide, right?
for sure.
And that's basically Health Buddha in many ways is a spin-off of Scale of 42.
Yeah, it feels like it. Like when I looked at it, I was like, this feels like a lead gen system for the practitioners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which it very much
It is.
right?
It definitely is, yeah.
So I like the idea that you start a consulting session for like Scale Up 42. All right, like the first thing I want you to do is there's this great company I've heard of. HealthBuddha.ca. You're gonna love it.
I think that's really interesting though, because I feel like because you had that existing network, the Scale Up 42, when you launched Health Buddha, these two-sided marketplaces are always tricky because it's chicken and egg situation. You got to have one before you can get the other. Which one do you get first? And you already had, I don't know if it was the chicken or the egg, but you had one of those components, which was all the practitioners. So you could stand up that site, stand up that business, and you're already out of the gates running instead of crawling, trying to get some activity happening on it. So that obviously was helpful.
100%.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't have started Health Buddha without Scale of 42.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
the fact is that Scale of 42A has all the clients that are now transition over onto Health Buddha. Because of them, more practitioners started to come in and started signing up, right? So now that became a network which serves the user, because now you have a robust network of practitioners.
Right.
And I don't think I could have done that without Scale of 42, clearly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Plus the other resources that Scale of 42 offers, right? Like we have tech teams, marketing teams, and all of that.
Yeah.
You can't run a startup without the rest of the the pieces of the puzzle,
Yeah.
like marketing. Who's going to do marketing? Who's going to creative?
It would be pretty ironic if you didn't do a really good job marketing of Scale Up 42, but that's fine.
right.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so that's true though. You have to have all that team around it anyway. So it seems like a good logical extension.
It reminds me of our business as well, because it was like, hey, I've got this. What else can I sell in that space?
Sell
What else
into
can
the
I leverage?
existing, yeah.
Can I parlay into another business or into another product
Well,
line? So
as I'm sure Ameya knows, I think it's like, what is it, 7 times or 10 times more expensive to acquire a new customer versus like maintaining one. So selling into your base is always a good idea. But that's really interesting though. I think it's cool that it was just such a natural idea. One thing that Chris and I talk about every once in a while is, it's funny how when you're in business, you have new business ideas all the time because you're just confronted with lots of problems that your consumer, your customer, or even perhaps like to a third degree connection, like somebody they know, their problem that they're having, and they're also a naturopath and they're trying to do this, that you could maybe solve, right? And I think it's interesting that you've taken these on, and at least 2 of them. Do you ever think of starting like a third? Like, how do you have any time? This is the kind of thing I was like it seems. I guess it's partially like a marketing arm of your other business, but it seems like a big commitment. Is the long term here? Like, what does the long term look like? I don't want to speculate.
This is a very interesting question, and I kind of battle with this pretty much every day because a lot of people ask me, it could be a startup myth, right? Like, what is the exit strategy?
Oh, here we
Yeah,
go. Get
right?
the gong.
Let's
Get the
go.
gong.
Right. Yeah. And what is the exit strategy? And to be perfectly honest, I don't have one.
that's fine. We didn't.
Yeah.
I guess is that the myth there is you need one. You don't really need one.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
If you're building a quality business that's systematized, profitable, and helps people, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I've realized that you don't know what's coming along,
Yeah.
Like there is AI stuff coming up. I don't know what's going to come up. I keep building this stuff.
Yeah.
A tech company might want to buy me out. A pharma company might want to buy me out. I don't know what would that exit strategy be, right? I don't know where this is going, but I know this is going somewhere because there is clear-cut customer validation that people are buying stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
Right? It is serving a certain
Working.
purpose. It's working.
It's working.
It's
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know that if I keep doing this and keep refining my product and whatever I'm offering to the end user, understanding, keeping that, and here I'm going to use the word empathy, right? Empathizing with your customer.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. And this word has been thrown out,
It's around.
yeah, it's around.
I like
right?
it a lot too.
Yeah,
So, but that's fine.
I love the word. No, I love the word.
Yeah.
I love the word, but the essence of the word, I don't know whether everybody really understands the essence of the word.
Right.
And to experience the
Right.
same thing and feel the same emotion.
To walking in that person's shoes,
Yes.
right, doesn't mean I get it. Well,
Do you though?
really get it, right?
Yeah.
Right, and
Do you?
yeah, right. And there's a lot of times if I can build stronger empathy for my customer or the end user, I will be able to build a stronger product. I'll be able to serve my clients who are naturopaths, and then the customers or users are the end customer, right? So the clients are naturopaths who are partners, we can call them. I can serve them better, and just knowing about how my clients and naturopaths or other practitioners who we would onboard in the future can serve. How can we facilitate for them to do what they love to do, and that is healing people and treating people?
Right.
Yeah.
If we can be that facilitator and reduce the pain that they have to experience to even acquire a new customer, because at the end of the day, their purpose is to treat and make and heal their customers, their patients,
Help people,
right?
man.
Help
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
My goal is to facilitate that and reduce that pain or any kind of barrier that comes between the naturopath and the customer.
Yeah. Right.
And that's where the empathy comes in, really knowing about what the end user wants, what the naturopath
That's cool.
wants, and then keep building this ecosystem and keep refining it.
I love it. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's a really great take. That's a really great take. Well, we are out of time, Ameya, but thank you so much. This has been super awesome. Yeah. Also, love that we worked the myth in there naturally. Didn't have to ask the question. Thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Folks, thank you. That's another episode of Startup Different. We will be back next week with another recap episode. We are looking forward to it, but thank you so much, Ameya, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And of course, folks, rate us on wherever you get your podcasts, and also follow us on social. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Hey, you made it all the way to the end of the episode. Nicely done. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so the almighty algorithm can help others find us. Want more from Startup Different? Check out our book, Startup Different, the myth-busting blueprint for your multi-million-dollar business. Follow us on social. We're big on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can also check us out at startupdifferent.com. Special thanks for this episode to Graham and our friends at Toronto Podcasts. Visit them at torontopodcast.ca. See you next week.